Cayce. So one of the things that I noticed is that the programming at this organization seems to be all-encompassing. You know, you focus on entrepreneurial skills for women, but you also do, group discussions. I was wondering if there's a particular program that women tend to flock to, and if not, what trends you see emerging from what women choose to seek from your organization.
So we take a holistic, multi-generational approach to our women's programs as well as all of our programming. Here, the women's program was born out of the desire we have our core program, which is for early childhood development, and wanting to empower moms to sort of take the same information that their kids are learning and apply in their families and sort of reinforce that. So if you're learning about hand washing and core program, the importance of that, and you also, your mom is learning about that too, to sort of really get it into the family. So in terms of women's empowerment, first we need to empower women as individuals, so that's what our women's group is for. Whether you're coming for a fitness class that's very popular, aerobic, Zumba, that sort of thing, IT classes, English classes, just sort of giving them that first step of confidence that they can learn something and that knowledge is just their own. And we have our seminars within our women's group as well, which happen 4 days a week. We have local experts, advocates, and sort of leaders from the community come and speak about various mental health, communication, parenting, family, sort of all those sort of subjects with the women. It might be resilience or focusing on communication with your children, all of those. From there, that's sort of our main empowerment program. We also have our entrepreneurship programs. Those are for women who are either interested in starting their own business, or maybe they have already done it but need some extra support to move forward. We know that Palestine has one of the lowest female labor force participation rates in the world, and we know that women, once they make money, they invest it back in their families, and it changes entire societies, not just not just them and their families. So we believe that women, if they have the skills and the tools, that they can become incredible business owners, CEOs. We've had great success stories in the past. So those are our two main empowerment programs.
That's great. So it seems that the entrepreneurial program has a pretty easily measurable rate of success, I suppose, with the discussion groups and those sorts of fitness programs. How do you measure progress, if you do at all, and how do you see it effective?
Certainly, monitoring and evaluation is a huge part of what we do here at TYO to make sure that we're not just giving information and hoping it sticks, but of making sure that this is something that's useful to the women and that they actually can leave feeling like they have tools to incorporate in their lives. So each of our women's programs starts with a pre-assessment. We do a full assessment of sort of what we're talking about that session, whether it's about communication or parenting, child discipline, of assessing where women are at with that. So we're sort of, what is their opinion of hitting your child? Is that wrong or is it not? Sort of gauging where they're at, and then at the end of our session, we have a post-assessment where checking back in with the women of seeing how their opinions have shifted. And we do see significant shifts of women who in the beginning said, well, maybe it's okay if a husband hits me if he's very, very angry. And then at the end of the 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 12 weeks, we'll be able to say, wait, no, of course that's wrong.
That's fantastic. Okay. What are the most prominent issues that you see women coming to this organization with that they want to talk about the most, or maybe are the most reluctant to talk about?
I think the first thing is TYO is a safe space, and oftentimes the first safe space that women have in their community and have had for most of their lives. So they come here for 2 hours a day, and there's a whole host of topics that they want to bring up, whether it's questions about health that they've never really had the right chance to ask, or had a professional that they felt comfortable discussing a certain issue with, as well as more personal issues, whether it's domestic violence in the home or violence in the school, disciplining their child with hitting or something like that. So just issues maybe that they have always wondered about but never felt comfortable to ask.
Okay. With the women discussing the films today, it seemed like they were approaching some pretty heavy subjects, maybe in a frame of mind that you might consider pre-assessment, I guess. I don't know a better way to put that, but I was wondering how frequently subjects like rape are discussed, or the relationships between men and women, whether it's platonic or not.
All of our women's sessions, we certainly incorporate these topics into our programs, but we do be careful where we're not just throwing out a topic like rape or domestic violence or a male and female relationship and not having the support when someone says, I want to talk about this, making sure we have someone like Suhad or another one of our staff there to really carry it with them the whole way through to really work on it. So we do bring these topics up, but we make sure it's in a time frame that we can support women after they start talking about it.
Are there individual therapy sessions that women can engage in?
It's not one of our direct services, but we do certainly, if someone has an emergency or any sort of issue during class, immediately they're referred to Suhad to have a discussion, and we also provide full follow-up to make sure that if someone has said something, maybe it's the first time they've admitted that they have experienced domestic violence, making sure we don't just say, okay, that's wrong, but if providing continued follow-up and making sure that they're safe and they can continue on the right path.
Okay. How long has Suhad been working with this organization?
Since the very beginning.
Wow.
So she's been here for quite some time, for about 5 years.
That's amazing. What are some of the common obstacles that women identify in terms of, living a healthy lifestyle, living an empowered life? Fallbacks to it?
I think the first would just be a lack of awareness or a lack of education of, if you've gone to, maybe you didn't go to school much, or just the schools here aren't terrific, you don't have that health knowledge of basic things that we would think were so simple, but a woman wouldn't know how her body works, or how children are developing, and those sort of issues, that just not having that education, that if a woman gets a little bit of awareness, she can change her whole family, getting to that point.
Do many of the women here identify themselves as refugees? I noticed on the website that there was a lot of language referencing refugees, like children as well as women. And I was wondering if women coming here consider themselves to be refugees, and if not, how that plays into their mentality.
Certainly, our target group are the refugee camps of Nablus, as well as other marginalized neighborhoods. So most of the women that are coming here are coming from the refugee camps. And I think the great thing about the women's group is while they might come in identifying as a refugee, and maybe they have a stigma against someone from another refugee camp, or a non-refugee woman might sort of have some stereotypes about someone who might come from a camp, but everyone's here together, and you sort of lose those boundaries, and you realize, like, I'm from Balata camp, but this woman's from Askar camp, and we both love fitness, and we're both having, this is great, totally the same. So I think people do come with that mentality, but it's working through those issues collectively when they're here.
Great, fantastic. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful to have you guys here.
Thank you.